Bahjah,
Yes.
thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Tell me, how did you get started running your own shop in Philadelphia?
My own shop. I was invited into the space. And I think I already had like some kind of presence. This shop that I'm in now is my second, I guess I would say my second attempt at running a brick and mortar. So the first time I was invited along with friends. They sell furniture, and for us to do the plants was like, it made sense in a way of interior design. So I think I did that for maybe a year until it didn't work in that area. We were in Francisville, so it didn't work in that area. I went back to my regular 9 to 5. I was a nanny at the time, and I went back to doing that. And once this new space became available, I was invited in to do the same thing, the plant shop. So, but the way I got known for, I guess, plants, I moved to Philly 6 years ago to Brewreytown, and just decorating my apartment and posting my progress on social media, I got dubbed the plant lady. So along with that came a lot of people asking for advice, and I don't know, I just made a thing of it. Like I started hosting events on Airbnb and sharing my tips and plant advice. So that's kind of how the business of horticulture started for me, just decorating my space.
How much of business is people?
I almost want to say all of it. Pretty much. It's a large percentage of it.
Did you sell plants before you had your shop, like online, or was that something that came along with the shop?
It came along with the shop. I would say I started off providing a service. I've always considered myself to be an entrepreneur. Like when I did my nanny services, that was on me. Like I didn't go through an agency or anything like that. I just put myself out there and offered a service. So it was kind of similar with the plants. I was offering rescue services and, just sharing my knowledge of plants and plant care and tips and stuff like that. So along with me sharing tips, now people see plants that they want to buy. I honestly don't like selling stuff.
Tell me a little bit about how you were able to start developing a business from this Instagram page you had, where you were kind of like showcasing your own interior design skills and then having people reach out. How did you develop that into a marketable strategy?
A lot of this has been trial and error. So just, I guess, being in tune with what people actually want from me. So just catering to that. Because if I were to just put anything out there, I may miss the mark. So I have to really listen and respond to what people are telling me that they need from me.
Sell what people want to buy.
Yeah.
That being an entrepreneur isn't about, selling what you want to sell, but it's about what people want to buy.
That's how I got into flowers. Because when I first opened the space, it was just plants, plant services, and things that, like pots, little small knickknacks, things that I thought would complement well with the plants. It wasn't until people started calling me and asking me for flowers that I started selling flowers. And it took a few phone calls because I'm like, no, I don't sell flowers here. And after maybe the third phone call, I'm like, all right, I got to stop telling people no. So I'm going to learn how to, design bouquets and arrangements. So, yeah, that's accurate.
Tell me a bit about the difference between plants, which have a very long shelf life, can have a long shelf life, and flowers, which, they die a little bit earlier. Like, how has your business workflow shifted a bit by introducing flowers to your shop?
I would say the flowers sell all year round as opposed to plants. And because they have a longer shelf life, maybe people are just shopping for one plant in particular and they're satisfied with that. And, that plant can go on for months, years, forever. Whereas the flowers, you have occasions, or some people want fresh flowers on their table every week. So the flowers keep people coming back more often than the plants do.
Can you tell me a bit about your upbringing and how you were raised and how you engage with your community these days?
My upbringing? So I'm originally from Chester. It's right outside of Philly. We've been back and forth. When I say we, I mean my family. Been back and forth between Philadelphia and Chester all my life. I did my primary schooling in Chester. I did high school in Philly. We lived in West Philly for a little while, so I went to Bartram. And my family is pretty active in the community. I remember growing up in our local mosque and being heavily involved in the Muslim community. And with that, just outpouring just into the community in general, doing charity work and teaching. So a lot of my, I guess, the way I interact with people stems from that. Just watching my parents and my uncle, work inside of the community.
Can you tell me a bit how important it is to care for people in order to live a really fulfilling life?
I think caring for people and being able to assist them in a way that they may not be able to assist themselves, or they may not have anyone else available to help them. It brings me a sense of happiness. Not in a way like I'm doing this solely to make myself happy, but I don't know, it's kind of weird. It is kind of selfish in a way, but I don't know, it's hard to explain, kind of, I guess, like right on the spot.
Well, there are a great number of things we can do to feel good, drugs and alcohol and whatnot, all those, or entertainment. There's a great number of things that make us feel good. But, volunteering in the community, that requires a bit of, elbow grease and,
Yeah.
effort. So it's a different kind of feeling good,
Yeah.
purposeful,
Yeah. Also, there are times where I honestly don't want to, or I'm too tired. And then when I do it, I love it that I actually got up and came up and helped somebody. So, yeah, there's that too.
So you were engaged in volunteer work at your mosque growing up. Can you tell me a little bit about how you're engaging with your community these days?
Well, the plant flower shop, has become more than just a plant and flower shop. A lot of people come in, and by the end of their visit, we've made a connection. For example, somebody coming in to buy flowers for a loved one, whether it's a joyous occasion or a sad occasion. Just those brief interactions of a story. I don't know, we make a human connection, and that's satisfying to me. And I never classified myself as a people person. Like, I like to stay to myself for long periods of time. And I do go out and into the community, and once I've had enough, I'm back in the house. But those interactions, those periods of interactions, the good ones, I don't know, they make it worthwhile. I enjoy it. And I think something as small as being a listening ear or just a shoulder It's a big deal to some people because some people don't have that.
Can you tell me what's going on in your mind when you're caring for somebody who's maybe lost a loved one or maybe is planning an event for a wedding, and how you care for them while doing business with them?
I think to do my best work is me showing that I care. So to put more effort into designing something that I think is beautiful and will meet or exceed their expectations is me caring. So I never want to put out anything that's mediocre or just to say I finished or, oh yeah, I can, I think so highly of my own work that I can just push out anything and they'll pay for it. So I think, just trying to do my best work and meet or exceed someone's expectations, and the quality of work is me showing that I care.
Do you think that builds trust with your customers, even if they don't realize how much care is actually going into the thing that they're buying? Do you think that they can still detect that effort and that builds trust with them?
I think so. Yeah, I think that's one way. I would say another way of building trust, you didn't ask me that, but another way of me building trust with them is to just do what I say I'm going to do.
That's a lot of like an integrity in a person is, making sure everything is held together, is fulfilled, What does integrity mean to you?
Well, that again, to, always try to do what I say I'm going to do, fulfill my obligations, even when I can't, to communicate with someone, just to be open and honest.
Is the customer always right?
Okay, I don't refer to my customers as customers. I know I'm in the business of making money and selling, but in my space, I like to refer to the people who walk through my door as my guests. Yes, they're my guests, even though they may make a purchase. I feel like because I do live in the same neighborhood where I work, a lot of my guests are my neighbors. And we're all from, not all of us, but most of us are from the same community. So to walk in my space that I've curated and I've made beautiful and welcoming, you're considered my guest when you walk in. So are they always right? Things can be taken into consideration. So I won't say nobody's always right. I'm not always right either as the business owner. So, like I said, things can be taken into consideration and we can talk about it. But I don't think anybody is always right.
They are your guests.
Yes. I want them to have a great experience when they walk in. Yeah.
I was reading a book called Unreasonable Hospitality, which is just about that, like a restaurant, high-end restaurants, but making food the last thing that you're selling to the client, or the last thing that you're providing for the client is the number one thing is experience. That people just feel super loved and respected when they walk in that door.
Yeah.
Have you ever had a difficult guest in your shop?
No. And sometimes I let stuff roll off my back. So if they are being difficult, I try not to let it affect me too much because I can't let one interaction with someone ruin my day for everyone else. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I try not to let things get to me too much.
Why do you frame it that way? Not letting it get to how you interact with other people rather than not letting it impact how you feel, but you don't want to let a negative interaction impact how you treat other people. Why do you frame it that way?
Because when I'm in my space, I'm there for everyone else. So it's not necessarily about me. So maybe at the end of the day, I can sit and reflect on that interaction and maybe, how I can handle things differently or a difficult customer differently. But while I'm in my shop, I have to be there for everyone else.
Sounds very present-minded.
I don't know.
Has your faith impacted any of the ways you operate your business or interact with your guests?
Yes. We do have guidelines in Islam for how we treat, how we're to run a business, how we're to treat our employees, how we're to treat our guests or our customers. So it is a really big deal. Even the phrase to treat people how you would want to be treated, that comes from Islam also. So I try to keep all those things in mind. And I'm like representing my faith every day. So I want people to have a good impression of not just me, but what I believe in.
Have you run into any adversities or prejudices in your business with folks or guests coming in?
I can't say I have. And again, if it was something, I probably just didn't pay it any mind. I remember in my younger years, it was more prevalent then. I think now people have become accustomed to seeing a Muslim, especially in Philadelphia. When I was younger, it was like a strange thing because it was new. So now I think people have become used to it. Not everybody is, but still. And I know Ramadan just passed. One of my experiences that I used to host on Airbnb was a Ramadan dinner. And I would invite just anybody to come. We had them in the shop last year. We had the dinners at the shop last year. It was a small fee to get in so I can cover the cost of food. But it was an interfaith experience that people could come and we can have an open floor discussion and they can ask whatever they want to ask respectfully. And by the end of the night, I think everyone realized that we have more in common than our differences. So that also made me feel good. It kills a lot of, the bad that you see on TV and things like that. So, and I think most people, they know what to expect when they come into the shop now. Not that it's super popular, but there is a presence now on social media and things of that nature. So although I can be camera shy, I'm making an appearance here and there, and I think people see my face, and I walk through the neighborhood and people see me playing in the dirt. So I don't know. I haven't had many bad interactions in that regard when it comes to the workspace.
Do you do any field work? So in addition to running your shop, do you ever help somebody decorate their house, by visiting or helping, create designs for flowers for their home or their exterior?
Yes. I haven't had many. I think that's what I want to do the most. So this year, my plans are to market myself, gearing more towards that. I have some experience doing that. There's a business in Fishtown where I did the indoor plants. She had about 40 plants that she needed to repot. So I did that. That was maybe a 3-day event for myself. And I did a few outdoor container boxes. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting in that space a lot more.
Have any projects large enough come up where you've had to bring on people, hire other folks on and build a team?
I'm building a team now because we're getting more into festivals, and I had some experience last year, and yeah, I need more hands. I need
Good.
more hands this
Good.
year, because it can be a faster pace than people just walking into the shop. So my initial points of contact for people to help would be my family and then my friends. And if they don't want to, I can, post and outsource to other people.
What do you look for when you're hiring someone?
Good question, because I haven't had to hire anyone yet. I look for compatibility. I think hiring someone would be equivalent to a relationship, because we have to work together in this space. Or if I'm out in the field and I need to leave you in the space, I need to be able to trust you. So, yeah, compatibility and trust and mutual respect. And, yeah, I need to know that my guests are in good hands.
Have you had any need or desire to expand from the Jefferson Street location?
Not an expansion. I don't think so. I have been using my apartment in addition to. Just, I don't know. I've been playing around with a few concepts. I haven't gotten to the point where I've pushed it to the forefront and this is something new, but it's always something that's on my mind that I want to make a little bigger.
Where do you source your plants from?
Where?
Or is that a trade secret? There's one secret farm out in upstate Pennsylvania.
I'm local. I source my plants locally. The flowers are local. Wherever I can get me a great deal, because, I have to resell these things.
And restock when they die and stuff, lots of dead plants that sadly,
Yeah, so I tend to source in small batches, so that I don't have to be overwhelmed with caring for a whole batch of plants by myself. So the quicker they move out, the better.
Do you host any events in your shop?
Yes. We tend to do some seasonal events, the workshops. We've done wreath making classes. We've done floral arranging classes. So I'm always trying to incorporate some new things that I'm learning myself. I wanna introduce a moss art class, because a lot of people have been interested in that. I've started playing around with moss and making art with it. So there's some interest in that. And I think it's fun to share my knowledge of things and show other people how to do things themselves. So, yeah, those are the type of classes and workshops that we host.
Is hosting and running classes and workshops good for business?
It is. I'm laughing because I see a lot of DIY stuff on social media, and I feel like that can hurt businesses once people learn how to do things themselves. So once upon a time, I have 4 kids, 3 daughters. So one of my daughters, she used to sell bracelets at school. So she started out selling the bracelets. I think they were made of rubber bands or something. And she went from just selling the bracelets to also selling the materials for you to make the bracelets. So in her mind, she's like, some people don't want to take the time to make the bracelets. They just want it pre-made. But for those who do want to take the time to do it, I'll sell the materials as well. So that's how I look at my shop. I can do a little of both. I can sell you a finished product, or I can show you how to do it. Either way, you can come into the space. But I think with, a lot of the DIY stuff, you showing people step by step every single detail, I think that can be hurtful. You don't leave the secret ingredient out. There has to be a secret ingredient that you just keep to yourself. Yeah.
Do you think that secret ingredient could be the care you show for people when you're with them?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and that goes into the work.
Well, I'm in the entertainment field, so the AI and like generative fill for Photoshop. I mean, I spent like 2 whole years learning really how to Photoshop like a model's face, like to look edited, to edit it, but not make it look edited, like make it look like clean up a little bit, but not over change it too much and not make it look like it had a filter on it. And technology now is just like you can do that in like 2 clicks on the thing. So like I'm also like it's like times be changing.
Yeah.
So the thing that I've had to learn is treating people with respect, making them feel cared for during the photo shoot. That is, that's the secret ingredient that no AI can replace.
Right.
Can you tell me a little bit more about Islam and treating others the way you'd like to be treated, and specifically how you are incorporating that into your business? Like what does the text say, and how specifically do you incorporate that into your business?
Well, that's a big part of our faith. And the text says that none of you truly believes until you want for your brother what you want for yourself. So just what's always on my mind is pleasing my Lord. So even if I'm in a sticky situation that may not work, it may not seem to work in my favor, that's what I keep in mind. Like I said before, there are times like there are volunteer opportunities that I may be too tired for, or I don't necessarily want to go do it, but I'm like, yeah, I might need some extra blessings or some reward because my ultimate goal is to make it to paradise. So that's my motivation and what I get up and force myself to go do these things for. So when it comes to business, that's always on my mind. Like to be patient when things are challenging, because these are the qualities that are pleasing to God. So just to always have that on my mind. And it helps me to interact with people in a better way, even if, they're being challenging or whatever like that. So that's just always on my mind.
With all the distractions that life has to offer us, what do you do to keep yourself grounded and present to remember that calling to please your Lord with everything you do?
I don't think it's the question. It's just, oof. What do I do to focus? I do pray. As Muslims, we pray 5 times a day. So I'm throughout the day, like just keeping track of time and a schedule, that's always on my mind as well. Like, what time is it? Do I need to take a break to pray? No.
Do you think praying 5 times a day offers a lot of present-mindedness?
Yes, I would say that would be the first thing, I believe. Just to take that time and pause and show some gratitude and be thankful. There are days where I've left the shop, I haven't made any money, or I've made $10 or $20. But I always tell myself just to be thankful for that, or just to be thankful that I even have this space, or just try to be grateful, because we're also told that if we're grateful, He'll give us more. It doesn't necessarily mean more money or more things. It could be more opportunities to do good, more opportunities to wake up and do something that's pleasing to Him. So I think just trying to stay grateful. I think walking around the neighborhood keeps me grounded for the most part. It's North Philly. Even riding down here, I don't ride down this way too often. I mean, I hear about it. and I see it in videos and on TV. And I was just looking around as I was driving down here, and you just start reflecting and praying and like, thank you, God, because that's not my life. And thank you for saving me from that, even though I may complain about other things, being behind on bills or whatever the case may be. It could be worse. So to walk around in these different neighborhoods, our communities, and I think that those type of things keep me grounded as well, because I'm more fortunate than sometimes I'm grateful for. Yeah.
Yeah. I always try to remind myself I'm one really bad day away from being out there on the streets in Kensington. You know, I think everyone is. Like, if like 5 really bad things all happened at once in one day, you know, anyone would. So yeah, that gratitude, it's magnetic. People like people who are grateful.
Yeah.
What's next for you?
I have no idea. I've been gone with the flow for so long, and I just recently told myself I need to set some actual goals, maybe some big goals. I would like to travel out of the country and just take in all the beauty of the world.
Where do you want to travel to?
I have Spain at the top of my list, Morocco, and Japan.
Where can we find you?
Horticulture is located at 3145 West Jefferson Street in the Brewreytown section of North Philly.
And what do you specialize in?
I specialize in design, care, and experiences. So that all includes plants and flowers. So one of the reasons I named it horticulture was because I just feel like plants go with everything. They brighten up a space. And like I said, we live in North Philly. North Philly is not what some would consider a beautiful area. But if you can add plants and beautiful flowers, it can become a beautiful place. And people tend to respect beautiful things more, or show more appreciation towards beautiful things. And we have to care for these things as well in order to keep them beautiful. So yes, I'm specializing in the design, care, and experience of a culture that includes or embodies plants and flowers.
Bahjah, thank you so much for coming.
Oh, thank you. We're done?
We're done, unless there's anything else you want to talk about.
No, I can't think of anything.
Yeah, that's good.